So is Dallas the perfect city for you? 10 years ago, I was sitting at home in rural Mississippi living a pretty comfortable life, right? Things were really good, but deep down, I was living a lifestyle that was moving in slow motion. I felt this inner pull to go out and achieve more, whether that be a new promotion, creating a business, or just having access to better resources and schools for my kids. Now, over the last 10 years, I've seen and experienced a lot of things when it comes to this city, and I've gotten to know the ins and the outs, right? But I've already covered a lot of those basic things on the channel, so today I really want to give you a complete picture. I'm gonna go over some of the pros and cons that no one else seems to even want to touch. So if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Mark with the Dallas Relocation Guide, and we help people buy, sell, and relocate right here to the Dallas Metroplex. We'd love to be of service to you if you're thinking about making a move down here, so feel free to reach out. All of our contact info's down in the description below and pinned to the top of the chat. Now, I'm an Aquarius, and because of that, I really enjoy being out by the water, right? You see, back home in Mississippi, we have a couple of ponds, and I've always enjoyed being down on the banks, but for me, it's always been my dream to live a place where I had access to a beach. I have this picture in my mind of white sand and clear blue waters that you really only find in sea and travel vlogs and like maybe Turks and Caicos. Now, the problem with this is I also understand the economics and cost behind living near these massive bodies of water, right? Your insurance is probably gonna be double. Your home is more likely to flood like down in Houston, or you're usually dealing with some sort of natural disaster that could take months, if not years to recover from, only to fix the problem and then do it all again a few years later. So moving to Dallas, I just understood if I wanted to have that beach life, we were just gonna have to drive a few hours maybe down to Galveston or to South Padre Island. But the problem with these beaches is they're just okay, right? And the water is still pretty murky. Isn't that picturesque light blue beauties that you see in areas like the Caribbean? I took the family down there to South Padre Island a few months ago, and we had a blast, right? But I did notice what everyone was talking about when it comes to that murky ocean water, and that just left something to be desired. But Dallas being at the forefront of forward thinking, especially in the realms of new development, has done something to change that narrative that I haven't seen any other city come close to executing. About 45 years ago, developers started to notice the trend in people moving to Dallas from coastal cities, right? They were coming from cities like Los Angeles, Tampa Bay, San Diego, I believe Jacksonville, and Orlando, right? But a really big complaint was the lack of beach access that gave their kids that, similar slice of lifestyle. So developers took note and started to create something that has taken DFW by storm. You see, they started to build these man-made lagoons. And that checks the box for families to have a vacation day right in their neighborhood. So let's start with this obvious MVP right here, which is going to be Windsong Ranch here in Prosper. This place has the ultimate lagoon setup, 5 acres of tropical vibes, clear Caribbean-like water, and the sandy beaches that make you forget about those murky lake days. Now, this sounds amazing, right? Well, there is a catch, right? This is only for Windsong Ranch residents, which keeps this very exclusive, guys. Listen, the lagoon is straight out of a vacation dream. It was built by Miami-based company Crystal Lagoons, which uses a white coating for the lining, which gives it this picture-perfect turquoise glow. This one holds around 10 million gallons of water. I mean, listen to what Selma had to say coming from the Caribbean.
I thought I was not gonna be impressed with it coming from the Caribbean, but when I came in, it was like, wow.
I feel like this is a beach and I'm just on vacation relaxing.
Now, Crystal Lagoons isn't stopping at just Prosper, guys. They've got their sights set on more areas around DFW with over 70 projects in the works in all of Texas. And if you're worried about the price tag, because buying a home here in Prosper is probably gonna run you in the $600 to $1 million range, they have more lagoons currently being built for those of you who may be on a smaller budget. For instance, this one is being built over here on the east side of Dallas, and they have another one that's right down the street from here as well. I've had extensive conversations with the builder and what's to come. The amenities are going to be world-class, and get this, the starting point for prices in this community is only $400,000. That's gonna give you this crazy restaurant, that's gonna give you the bowling alley, the gym, the arcade, that's gonna give you the nice blue lagoon, different pools, I mean the works, guys. If you're looking for some value, and somewhere if you buy in now, that you'll be able to gain all the equity and appreciation as the other people buy around you, this is a no-brainer. Let's talk about something that you might not see, but if you live in North Texas, you definitely deal with it every single day. You see, for me, I'm used to it coming from, rural place like Mississippi, but for my wife coming from California, Texas was a bit of an adjustment, right? You see, if you're coming from a different part of the country, this is only going to affect you during certain seasons, so it's not really something you have to adjust for as much. But for my wife, living in Dallas has definitely taken a toll on her ability to be comfortable, right? right? You see, ever since we met, she's always had this issue with sneezing or wheezing. Her eyes are always tearing up, right? And for me, I was really worried that, something was wrong with her. It just seemed like she had constant sick symptoms. Listen, don't tell her I told y'all, but she would do that little which of course we joke about, but after living here for a while and helping clients move here who seem to be dealing with the exact same thing, I started to realize maybe there was something bigger going on. So if you move to Dallas and then find yourself completely discombobulated, you're not alone, right? Because North Texas is basically drowning in pollen. It's gonna be on your car, it's gonna be in your patio furniture, and floating through the air like it owns the place, right? But the interesting thing is some people are completely unaffected while others are living a life like Bubble Boy. This tiny prick, I mean, every single year we hear, oh, this is the worst year that we've ever had for allergies. And honestly, there's a lot of truth to it. But why is pollen so bad here? A lot of it has to do with where we live. So because of the warmer weather, that equals longer pollen seasons. But thanks to our mild winters, pollen season here is like that house guest that just won't leave.
Bro, man, it's 3 in the morning, man. What are you doing here?
Nothing.
Just chilling.
You see, from February to April is tree pollen season. From April to June, yeah, that's gonna be the grass pollen season. And then come fall, say, Labor Day through Halloween, that's when we get the weed pollen season. And then the winter hits us and then it's mountain cedar pollen. So basically, we only get a break in the mid-heat of summer, and that's really debatable. But with the climate changing across the globe, we're starting to see longer seasons and higher pollen levels than ever before. Your best bet is usually to head out right after it rains. The rain really helps clear the air and gives a nice little window to breathe a little bit easier, but rain also kickstarts more blooming, so just don't get too comfortable. To own a 3-level townhome in this highly gentrifying area of town. We were seeing tons of new development hit that area, new homes being built, old ones being demolished, and there was just this buzz for several different reasons going on in this area. Now, all of this was happening pre-pandemic, so I was doing my research prior to that, wanting to buy a home because I wanted to capitalize on the appreciation as more and more things started to hit that area. But one of the main reasons I bought over there, because the city was doing something drastic when it came to the Dallas public park scene. You see, Dallas has always strived to create urban outdoor green spaces, which really invites people to come and enjoy, right? You can see it in the Clyde Warren Park project that they finished some years ago and our other nature areas around the city, right? But there is one project that had the type of buzz that would completely change the narrative and shape the public perception of this part of town that was really once forgotten. You see, news about this park started over 10 years ago. It was supposed to be the catalyst that completely changed the landscape of West Dallas. But the problem was it was a complete pipe dream for a lot of years and a lot of years. Harold Simmons Park was planned to be 11 times larger than Central Park in New York, right in the middle of Dallas, right? Which, if you ask me, was a bit ambitious, but they raised millions and millions of dollars from donors to try to get this done. But the only problem was they were trying to build this inside the levees of the Trinity River that runs right in the middle of downtown. Now look, I'm no rocket scientist, but building a park in an area that's designated for water to run off from thunderstorms doesn't seem like the best place to put that. They ran into a myriad of issues that had to be worked out over the last 4 years, and many people had really just written this project off. Me being one of them, as I sold that property and moved my money elsewhere. And I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, that was a big mistake because today they've actually broken ground on this venture and it's finally coming to reality.
Do you think people have any idea what's about to happen here?
No, we've been working hard behind the scenes, but it's truly more than just a park. It's a park with 200 acres of green space. It's also a park with 50 acres of built environment.
Attractions will be clustered in areas on both sides of the river, linked by trails and bridges. Falling model lays out the vision.
And as we talk about the park, many times it's difficult for folks to understand the scale that we're talking about.
There will be a playground with wooden towers built in Germany, a splash pad where the kids can cool off, a cable ferry across a shallow waterway, a manicured lawn for movie nights, an event center and cafe, plus thousands of new trees, shrubs, and wildflowers.
Now, this park is going to have the outdoor roller rink, sports courts, splash pads. You're gonna get water gardens. There's gonna be playgrounds. There's gonna be an event center and a cafe. I mean, the park is also gonna feature picnic areas, event lawns, and a dog park. They're talking about an urban flea market happening here every single month, movie nights out on the lawn for all of the Dallas residents with arguably the best views in the Dallas skyline. I mean, guys, we're talking about a major transformation in the way people live, work, and play, especially when you're coming out and enjoying this won't cost you a dime. Now, there's one thing that is going to be a very big con, and it's almost encompassing the two, right? So just the other day, I was getting a wash, wax, and detail on the bins. I had just gotten a fresh cut like today, and me and the wife, we were gonna hit the town and meet some people, you know, some friends downtown and maybe get some dinner or something. Now, as I left the car wash, pulled up to the next light and paused, you know, waiting for the light to change colors. And then right at this point, a subscriber called, wanted more information about moving to Dallas, and I didn't even notice that the light had changed to green. You know, I was only there for no more than 6 seconds before I noticed that I was holding up traffic. Now, for me, I'm not the type to run from responsibility or confrontation, right? But the person behind me was just doing way too damn much, right? You know, they started honking their horn consistently, even after we were a mile down the road. Now, look, I'm not trying to act like I've never been frustrated and honked at somebody sitting at a green light. You know, we've all been there, but this person literally chased me down the road for another 4 blocks, holding up middle fingers, making gestures, and just being mad disrespectful. But then they pulled out in front of me and really started hitting their brakes. Now, this is where I felt my aggravation really building up, right? Now, the younger, hot-headed version of me probably would have engaged in an altercation, but, you know, being a father, I decided it was time for me to exit this situation altogether. And so I just hit a quick right, pulled into the nearest gas station. You see, guys, I know myself, right? And if they would have made me run into the back of their car over this foolishness, it was gonna be a bad day for all parties involved. And you see, this is a common occurrence out here in Dallas, especially on our roads, right? Road rage is a real thing, and people take things way too far, right? You know, I've seen on Instagram on certain Dallas pages where other people are trying to run other people off the road, and fender benders tend to escalate into something totally unnecessary, right? People on our highways, they drive like bats out of hell, guys. Sometimes doing 20 to 30 miles over the speed limit, and then they're upset if you're only going 5 over in the fast lane. I've seen people pull guns, people getting stabbed on the highway. You know, a lot of innocent drivers are impacted because 2 other drivers decided to have a battle on the road. It's just really a situation where things can get really dicey really quickly, but part of the problem isn't on the drivers themselves, right? I have to be honest with you guys and hold the city of Dallas accountable for some of this foolishness. You see, in the city of Dallas, or how we like to say inside of the loop, you'd be hard pressed to see someone getting pulled over for a traffic violation, right? Like, speeding inside the loop is just normal. You know, the cops are not really posted anywhere hiding. I don't think I've ever seen a speed trap in Dallas proper, guys. And what's the reason for that, right? I think it's because, you know, the city is really understaffed when it comes with police officers at the moment, right? And they have them working on other crimes such as homicides, robberies. But with the amount of people who are, you know, moving to and living here now, there needs to be an effort to control some of the recklessness and the drivers with this behavior because people are getting hurt out here.
So I'm super excited to announce we just released our Reload Ready bundle. This is a bundle that gives you our knowledge of the Metroplex, the best areas, best food spots, best schools, and overall what to expect. And lastly, we're gonna give you access to our preferred property list. This is when builders have inventory that they need to move. They call and give us first dibs. These are gonna be those discounted properties you won't find on Realtor or Zillow.com. So if you want exclusive access, click the link below, become a part of our inner circle where we say less and pay less. Now, back to the video you were watching.
So something you're gonna notice as soon as you touch down to Dallas is the amount of new construction on all these large urban housing units, right? Specifically, we're talking about the luxury apartments packed with all the amenities that you could dream of, right? From the rooftop pools and fitness centers to the dog parks and co-working spaces, developers in Dallas are going all out to cater to the growing demand for modern living. And it's not just about the aesthetics, right? It's about creating a lifestyle. With so many people moving to Dallas for work, opportunities, or just to change of pace, these multifamily developments are popping up everywhere to meet the need. And let's just keep it real. Most people don't want an old, outdated place to live. But the thing is, Dallas isn't just building, it's leading the charge when it comes to multifamily housing in the United States. I mean, in fact, recent reports show Dallas is building more multifamily units than any other cities in the country. States like California, New York, despite their population size being bigger than ours, they're still falling behind. I mean, for example, Los Angeles is notorious for its housing crunch, and while we're working on new projects, they're nowhere near Dallas's pace, right? I mean, Florida, for example, where you have cities like Miami and Tampa, they're seeing some type of development as well, but the scale is much smaller compared to the Big D. I mean, Dallas isn't playing just catch up, it's setting the standard. So what is driving all of this construction, right? It's a combination of a couple factors, from the booming job market to the city's relatively affordable cost of living compared to a lot of these other major metros, right? And let's just be real, developers know that people are moving here and they're looking for more than just a place to crash. They want those amenities, the convenience, and that community vibe. So if you're relocating and wondering what's next, Dallas's multifamily housing boom means there's no shortage of options to find you that perfect fit. this year, we had a client who moved down to Dallas. They bought their home all cash and started their retirement out here in the DFW. Now, they were really attracted to the no state income tax, but they were leaving an area where their property taxes were like 0.8% or something like that. In the new area that they actually moved to, it jumped up to 2.4%. Now, when his tax bill came out at the end of the year on his $600,000 house, he had to write a check to the county for a little over $12,000. Now, we had prepped him on what his rate was gonna be and what he would actually have to pay, especially after filing his homestead exemption and the senior citizen exemption, but I could tell it was still a lot more than he wanted to pay. And trust me, I get it. No one wants to pay money out to a system that may or may not be investing that money back into the community. I mean, it's definitely a valid concern, but for me, it's just one of those things that isn't going away, and rather than be upset and complain about it, I deal with reality and find more ways to make more income. I mean, if you compare states like Florida or Colorado, where property tax rates, I think they hover around 0.8 or 1%, you'll see just how steep the difference is, right? Even California, with its sky-high home prices, has lower property taxes due to that Proposition 13, I think, which caps the increases, right? Listen, guys, nobody hates taxes more than I do. I feel like it's unconstitutional. But, the people who uphold the Constitution don't really care about how I feel about taxes. They're gonna get theirs off the top whether you like it or not. But higher property taxes can be offset by other benefits, right? Like no state income tax and generally more affordable homes compared to places like New York or California. Plus, if you're savvy, there's ways to protest your property tax appraisal and potentially lower your bill. Those taxes, they fund things like the schools, infrastructure, all the public services. While those are important, it still means homeowners are digging deeper into their pockets every single year. So it's definitely something you want to budget for. Now, since the launch of this channel, we've helped hundreds of clients move into town successfully, from different parts of the country, right? They started watching the channel, fell in love with our videos, and then reached out to set up a call. Now, after me and the team had a chance to evaluate their wants and their needs, we were able to really hone in on the areas that they wanted to be in and help them buy their dream home in the type of community they've always wanted. Take this house, for instance, guys. This is one of our clients' new builds. They built it on an acre of land. This is gonna be a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom, just over 3,700 square feet of interior space. You get the game room, media room, and all the bells and whistles. And they bought this one for $950,000. So again, no matter what you're looking for, we can definitely help you find that and get you into that new home in Texas that you've been always wanting. Now, a lot of our clients, they come from the north where they're leaving the cold weather behind and the harsh winters. Some come from Florida, leaving behind the high insurance costs and the hurricanes. And then a lot of them come from the West Coast because they're running away from the bad politics, the homelessness, and the high cost of living. Now, wherever they were coming from, one thing seemed to stand out that they all had in common, right? They were looking for these brand new houses, the ones with the high ceilings. You get the wood floors, the spa-like baths with enough room to build a pool in the backyard if they wanted to. They also wanted to have all the amenities at their fingertips, like a gym, amenity center, and everything that comes along with living in these new construction homes here in Texas. You see, Dallas is in the midst of a massive new construction housing boom, despite what all the doomsdayers on YouTube are saying. And the surge in this new construction is driven by a mix of market demands, economic growth, and the unique appeal that Dallas has on the rest of the country. Another reason is our new construction homes are just much cheaper for the same type of homes in different cities, right? When people hop on Zillow and look at the price of homes in Dallas versus what they currently have, it kind of blows their mind. I mean, for a lot of our clients, the cost of a brand new house in Dallas is often less than the price of an older home in their current market, which makes Dallas just so appealing. Another thing that buyers love is the ability to customize their property to their liking, right? I recently had a client that was looking for a 4-car garage like this one. He was able to build it from scratch, create his dream home with every feature that he wanted. I mean, buying a brand new property also means less maintenance and fewer unexpected repairs compared to purchasing an older home. And that peace of mind is really priceless. All of our builders come with warranties to take care of anything that malfunctions, from your light bulbs to your foundation. Another thing that I found to be true is purchasing a new home just makes the relocation process so much easier. Dallas is one of the top destinations for people relocating, and builders recognize this and they're rushing to meet the demand with new communities. They're even willing to work on contingency sometimes if you have a house you need to sell back in your area. Like I said, guys, this is why you reach out to us, because we've built those relationships with the builders so we can get you into these deals and get these deals done. Our builder partners love it when we bring them relocation buyers, so having our team in your corner saves you time, money, and headaches. So if you're thinking about making a move, feel free to give us a buzz. All of our contact info is down in the description below and pinned to the top of the chat. Now, there's something that often catches buyers and people who are new to the area off guard, right? So we recently helped a family move from Idaho, which was a first for us, right? They were coming from an established neighborhood, but they really had fell in love with some of the properties we had been showing them over the past couple of months. They wanted to go new construction with all the upgrades and amenities. So we ended up finding one that they loved in a community that was going to be the best fit, right? So I was able to negotiate $10K in closing cost allowance, and they were able to get a 4.99% interest rate, which I think right now interest rates are like 6.25%. So their payment was actually fitting within their their monthly budget, but as they scrolled down through some of the fee structures and they saw that the HOA fee was gonna be about $75 a month, and they had no idea about the MUD taxes. Now here in Texas, we have two different types of development fees called PIDs and MUDs, right? A PID is also known as, a public improvement district. It's gonna be an additional assessment that they use to fund the infrastructure, things like roads, things like parks and the new development communities. It's gonna be taxed onto your property tax bill, and that thing can last for decades. Similarly, we have another one called MUD, which is gonna be a municipal utility district. This is gonna cover the water, the sewer, and all the other utilities in the area outside of the normal city services, right? Now, while these assessments, they allow the developers to build a little bit faster and they keep home prices competitive, but the cost can be significant, sometimes adding hundreds to your yearly tax bill. Now, we have people reaching out all the time that want us to find them homes that are not in PIDs or MUDs, but you have to understand something before you understand. Most PIDs and MUDs will be in the new construction neighborhoods that everyone is wanting, right? So if you're wanting new construction, just be prepared for that to be a part of the deal. Now, as far as the HOAs go, in Dallas, many neighborhoods, especially like I said, the new ones, they're gonna have the amenities like the pools, the playgrounds, all the gated entries, and all of these privileges are governed by the homeowners association, right? HOAs help maintain the community standards, but they do come with a cost. The typical fees can range anywhere from $200 to $1,500 per year, just depending on what's included, right? Luxury communities or those with extensive amenities like Windsong Ranch, they tend to have higher HOA fees, and here's the kicker, right? These fees are in addition to your mortgage and property taxes, so they can sneak up on you in a heartbeat if you're not prepared.
Now, when it comes to Dallas, finding the best area is going to be the hardest part, right? And quite frankly, we make the best videos about living in the DFW. Whether you want to see vlogs and be totally immersed in some of these areas, we created multiple playlists, and you can check those out right there.